the Nutrition English Lab.
Hello, everyone. You're watching the Nutrition English Lab, the channel where we build your scientific English one tool at a time. I'm Frady, and today we're recording episode 2 of our AI series. If you missed episode 1, go back and watch it. We covered ChatGPT, Claude, Notebook LM, and Scopus AI, and I showed you live examples of how to use them in clinical practice and research. Today, we'll continue with 3 more tools that I use regularly in my work as a nutritionist: HeidiHealth, GPA AI STEM, and Jenni AI. Each of these tools solves a specific problem that nutrition and healthcare professionals face every day. Heidi solves the problem of clinical documentation. Writing consultation notes is time-consuming and cognitively demanding. GPA AI STEM solves the problem of visual science communication, turning complex nutritional and biomedical concepts into clear, structured visual materials for teaching and outreach. And Jenni AI solves the problem of academic writing, structuring, drafting, and citing research papers and essays. I have my screen shared so you can see exactly what I see. First tool, HeidiHealth. And I want to explain the problem this tool solves before I show you how it works, because the context matters. In a typical nutrition consultation, I'm doing 3 things at once. I'm listening to my patient, I'm thinking clinically, and I'm trying to write everything down. That third task, documentation, takes attention away from the first 2, which are the most important ones. Studies in general medicine have shown that clinicians spend up to 40% of their working time on documentation. Heidi is an AI clinical scribe that eliminates most of that burden. Here is how it works. I click record, and I have a consultation. For this demo, I'm going to dictate a short fictional consultation summary so you can see what Heidi does with it. Watch.
Patient is a 45-year-old woman with type 2 diabetes, body mass index 31.2, referred by her GP for dietary management of glycemic control. HbA1c was 6.8 on last blood test 3 months ago. She reports eating irregularly, skipping breakfast, high intake of refined carbohydrates, no food allergies. She is motivated to change. Goals discussed: reduce HbA1c to below 6.0 within 3 months, implement structured meal timing, reduce added sugar intake. Plan: low glycemic index diet, 3 meals per day plus 1 snack, increase dietary fiber to 30 grams per day, follow up in 4 weeks.
Look at what just happened. In under 30 seconds, Heidi produced a complete structured SOAP note. Subjective, objective, assessment, plan, from my spoken consultation summary. The format is clean, the clinical language is accurate, and the note is ready to be pasted directly into an electronic health record. Now, do I paste it without reading it? Absolutely not. I review every word. I verify the clinical details. I personalize it for the actual patient file. But the structure is there, the time is saved, and my attention during the consultation was fully on the patient, not on typing. Heidi has a free tier that gives you a limited number of monthly transcriptions. The paid plan is designed for clinical use and includes integration with major electronic health record systems. For those of you who are non-native English speakers, and many of you watching this are, Heidi also produces the note in professional clinical English, even when you dictate in a mixed or accented style. That is genuinely useful. Second tool, GPA AI STEM. And as with the others, I want to explain the problem before I show you the tool, because this one addresses something nutrition educators face that the previous tools do not. When we teach nutrition, whether to students, patients, or the public, the challenge is not always the writing. It is the visual communication of complex biological and biochemical processes. How do you explain insulin signaling to a patient with type 2 diabetes? How do you illustrate the gut microbiome to a nutrition undergraduate? How do you create a teaching diagram for a class without a graphic design budget or hours of free time? This is the problem GPA AI STEM is built to solve. It transforms scientific and nutritional concepts into structured visual learning materials, infographics, concept diagrams, illustrated explanations. using AI-generated output that professionals can adapt and use directly. Here is how it works. You enter a STEM concept, any topic in nutrition, biology, biochemistry, or physiology. You define the audience. Is this for a patient, a student, a general public post? You choose an output format: infographic, concept map, illustrated summary, or step-by-step process diagram. GPA AI STEM generates a structured visual with labeled components, clear hierarchy, and plain language annotations. What makes it different from asking an AI to describe a diagram? It produces the visual directly, not a description of one. Let me show you an example relevant to our field. I'm going to enter a concept that comes up constantly in clinical nutrition practice and patient education: how dietary fiber regulates blood glucose. I'll set the audience to adults with type 2 diabetes and the format to step-by-step process diagram.
Look at that structure. 5 numbered steps, each with a plain language label, a brief biological explanation, and a note on clinical relevance. This is a complete patient education infographic in a format that can be printed, included in a digital handout, or used as a slide in a teaching session. It took 20 seconds. Now, do I use it without review? No. I check the scientific accuracy of every step. I adjust the language for my specific patient population. I might simplify step 2 if I'm working with lower health literacy patients, or I might expand step 4 if I'm using this in a clinical teaching context. But the structure is there, the visual logic is there, and the hard part, translating a complex physiological process into a sequential, accessible format, has already been done. GPA AI STEM has a free tier for individual use. For those of you who are non-native English speakers, this tool is particularly valuable because the visual format reduces dependence on dense technical prose. The concept communicates through structure and labels, not paragraphs. You can also generate the same infographic in multiple languages, which opens significant possibilities for patient education across language communities.
Third tool, Jenni AI. This is the tool I wish I had during my postgraduate studies. Jenni is an AI-powered academic writing assistant, specifically built for the kind of writing that nutrition students, researchers, and academics do. Essays, literature reviews, research proposals, thesis chapters, and journal article drafts. What makes Jenni different from just asking ChatGPT to write an essay? 3 things. First, Jenni writes inline, inside a proper document editor, not a chat window. Second, it has a citation engine. It can find and insert real academic citations as you write. Third, it works within your document structure. You control the flow, Jenni assists sentence by sentence. For non-native English speakers working on academic writing, this is particularly powerful. You no longer need to worry about whether your academic phrasing sounds natural. Jenni models the academic register. You focus on your ideas and your argument. Jenni handles the linguistic scaffolding. 3 more Jenni features worth knowing. The outline generator, which takes your title and builds a logical structure for your essay or review before you write a word. The paraphrase tool, which rewrites selected text in a more academic register. And the AI detector check. Jenni can analyze your own text and flag sections that might be flagged by AI detection tools, which is increasingly relevant for academic submissions.
Let me show you. I'm going to start a new document on a topic that is very relevant to our field: the role of the Mediterranean diet in the prevention of cardiovascular disease. I'll type the first sentence and let Jenni suggest the continuation. Look at what happened. I typed, "The Mediterranean diet, characterized by high consumption of fruits, vegetables, legumes, whole grains, and olive oil, has been extensively studied in relation to." Jenni completed it in full academic English, with appropriate hedging language and with 2 real citations automatically inserted. Those are real papers I can verify. Now, do I accept every suggestion? No. I press Tab to accept what I agree with, I skip what doesn't fit, and I continue writing. Jenni is not writing my paper for me. It is reducing the activation energy of academic writing. The blank page problem disappears. I search a topic. Jenni finds real, indexed academic papers. I click the one I want, and it inserts the citation into my document in the correct format. APA, Vancouver, Harvard, whatever style I've set in the settings.
And how reliable are the references? It's simple to verify. Just click on the reference to see the article details. Then you can click on the view icon, and that's it. Not only can you verify the reliability of the information, but you can also read the article to see if it aligns with your work.
Before we close, the same warning I gave in episode 1, and I repeat it every episode because it matters in healthcare. Those AI tools are powerful, but none of them carry professional responsibility. Heidi does not know your patient. Texta does not verify clinical accuracy. Jenni can insert real citations, but it can also occasionally misattribute a finding to the wrong paper. Every output requires professional review. For Heidi specifically, never dictate real patient names or identifiable personal data into a public AI transcription tool without verifying your institution's data governance policy. Use role descriptions, the patient, not personal identifiers. For GPA AI STEM, visual communication carries its own clinical risk. A diagram that oversimplifies a physiological mechanism can create misconceptions that are harder to correct than a text error because visuals feel authoritative. Review every step of every generated infographic against current evidence before sharing it with patients or students. And remember, the tool generates a structure, not a fact-checked explanation. The professional review is not optional. For Jenni, academic integrity policies vary by institution and journal. Always declare AI writing assistance when required. And always verify that every citation in your Jenni-generated draft actually says what the paper claims it says.
I'm Frady. This has been the Nutrition English Lab. Thank you very much for joining us today. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss episode 3, where we'll be looking at others' powerful AI tools. Stay curious, stay critical, and let the machines handle the first draft. See you in the next episode.
The Nutrition English Lab.